everybody, this is Cheri at DJ Sundry, and today's tag is very simple. So to start with, I am using some lumberjack plaid distress ink. I'll also be using a little bit of vintage photo. I have my tag all prepped and ready, like all of the other tags in the series. To and from is already stamped on the back, and this one is going to go together very quickly. So to start with my stamping, the stamp that I'm using is from the Tim Holtz Stamp Timber 2022 set. It is the Big Santa Claus. This is a really fun stamp set, and actually the idea for this tag came from one of the maker's tags, and I thought this would be really good for my tag collection, and so I wanted to case it. I will see if I can find who did the original tag. Of course, it will be different, but this is where the idea came from, and I'll link it below. So I have my tag already set up, and you'll see that I have a piece of paper sitting in here, just simply because the stamp itself is much larger than the tag. So I want to set the tag on my stamp platform right at 2 inches, because that is where I set to have my stamp land in just the right place. And then I am going to ink up. Now I don't need to ink all of the edges up because I already know that I'm not stamping the edges, but I do want to go far enough out that I capture the full width of the tag. So I have made some other ones of these, and I will be honest with you, it's going to take at least 2 passes, and sometimes it takes 3 just to get that nice deep red impression. If you wanted to, you could go back and you could emboss this. That would be pretty. You could either with the embossing glaze that goes with the lumberjack plaid, or you could even do clear embossing over the top just to add that little extra texture. However, I needed a quick tag, and so I wasn't looking to do anything like that this time. So let's see if that's enough of an impression there. And I think that's good. Actually, I'm going to go one more time because I want a really dark red. Now, you could also do this in dark blue. If you did this in dark blue, like prize ribbon or something, on a white tag, it might look a little bit like Wedgwood China, only with Santa on it, which I think would also be fun. So there's a lot of options of things that you can do with this. So that should do my stamping. Have a nice deep red image. And I am just going to grab a wipe and just wipe off my stamp. I'm not too worried about the stamp wearing out or not, or staining or anything, because this is distress ink, so it should be pretty easy to clean off, and I can go back and clean it off better if I decide to do that later. But that is all the stamping for this card, so we're going to set that aside. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do, and I actually have one sitting on the side because I don't want to smudge that ink just in case it's not quite dry. So I have one that is completely dry, already done. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I am just going to ink around the edges. This will give the tag a more vintage look. Now, that is not what I meant to do, and I have more on here than I anticipated, so it's really going to be vintagey, but that's okay because we can play with that and do something with it. And we'll probably go back and ink the other one. You can skip this step if you want. I just wanted to give it that dirty, more vintage look. I just did not come in well off the side. I am definitely not a master at this inking. So what I'm going to do, since I have done that, we'll come back and do something with that in a minute. This should be a little bit more dry, so let's try again. You could, again, just leave it like this, but I wanted a more vintage feel. So let's come on a little bit more gentle hand. Let's not be quite so rough with it. I did learn while doing these tags, it honestly is better if you start at the bottom, and I just forgot to do it on this one, simply because when you get around this, because there's some extra dimension there, you tend to get a little bit more of an ink buildup as you run into that. And I just felt like I had better control when I came around the bottom and worked my way into it all the way around. I think it was more me just kind of getting in the groove. So that's how I would leave that particular one and call that one done. Now this one, because we did go quite a bit darker and it's a lot bolder, what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and darken that up just a little bit. And then I'm going to grab my water, which just happens to be sitting here, and I'm going to just gently drip. Actually, let's drip it this way. Just gently drip some big water drops on there. And then grab a paper towel, give it just a second, and then just go over the top and pick up. Now, know that when I'm doing this, it will pick up the red also, so just beware, it could potentially pick up red, but that gives it a little bit more worn without looking like, oops, she goofed and really went in that corner. It kind of still looks that way, but again, let that sit there, let those waters penetrate, and then go back over that corner a little bit. So that looks a little bit better. And we still have that nice vintage, almost burnt paper look of the tag. So now to finish it off, we're going to do some ribbon. Now I had a couple different choices here, and I really thought about using this green, but I think it's just too sparkly for the vintage feel. So we're going to go back to a ribbon that we used earlier in the series, just because I just feel like it has a more vintage feel. So I'm just going to pull this up here, and I think I will go ahead and tie it into a quick little bow. Not a big bow. The purpose is not to hang it from the package with it. Just a quick little bow, just like that. Cut it off, and we are done. Whoops. So like I said, just a quick, easy tag. This one would be a quick one to reproduce. And especially if you weren't inking around the edge, you could definitely reproduce it. And now as that dries and fades back, I don't even mind this one as bad. However, I do prefer this one. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for stopping by today. And remember, take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day. Bye.